Hi guys, Sunday blessings to you all. I hope that you guys are all safe and that you are well. So I'm just coming on to do this week's, sorry, I'm just trying to get my hood right. I'm just coming on this week to do this Sunday's Tarot and Oracle review video. So the deck that I'm going to be showcasing for you this week is the Light Seer's Tarot, and this is a deck that's been produced by Annie, so I should say. So this is the deck. This is a really kind of cool, little funky deck. Now, I will say before we even look at this and review this in its entirety, if you're sort of drawn to it, if you sort of like it, be really careful where you choose to purchase this deck from, because this is one of the decks that are being targeted by a lot of fraudulent people at the moment. So if you decide to purchase this off Amazon, eBay or Wish, be very careful that you're getting the real thing, because I know a lot of people have purchased this and they've got like miniature cards, like really dinky ones, and they're not the same. They are imitation, they're sort of replica. And I think it's really important with tarot decks particularly that they are bought from an ethical source. So if you're not sure a way to sort of go ethically, obviously the publisher direct is always a great starting point. So this deck is produced by Hay House. We've seen a lot of their decks. You know that I'm a massive Hay House fan. So obviously, you know, their website would be somewhere that you can get this deck from. Actually, WH Smith's online is another really good place to get decks from. I've got quite a lot from there. Waterstones, those kind of places, at least you know, yes, you might be paying slightly more money, but you know that the actual product is ethical, you know it's the correct product. So just be careful if you're interested in this particular deck, because like I say, so many people have got burnt and stung by it because they've actually, what they've thought was the real thing has been actually a poorly cheap sort of second produced version basically. So got to sort of talk about that first. Right, so as we look at the back of this box, this I think is a deck really for like the modern kind of like tarot reader. So this is going to be a really good deck if you're just starting to get to grips with tarot. This is a good introductory deck. This is also a deck if you're more established as a reader. It's a really nice all-rounder, but it's definitely tarot for the modern age. And I'm just going to read you what it says here on the back, because I think it's quite a nice little sort of bit of spiel they've put on it here. So it just sort of says, this 78 card tarot deck is a healing tool and guide to explore both the light and shadow sides of our nature. By re-imaging the traditional tarot archetypes and symbols in contemporary boho and intuitive style, the Light Seer's Tarot expresses the light and shadow sides of our natures and explores the lessons that can be learnt from both. The expressive characters who live within the landscapes of the cards tell stories, ask questions, and provide guidance. This deck is an ideal companion as you seek to uncover the places in your life and in yourself that are the most in need of illumination. So this is a really cool deck. It's very different to anything I think I've shown you so far, but it's definitely, I feel it's like a deck tarot for the modern time. I love it. So it's a nice shape as well. Some of the boxes I've shown you in previous videos have been very big, very bulky. This is sort of tall and slender. It's really nice. It's really elegant. It's an elegant sort of deck. So I've already told you it's been produced by Hay House. So on the back here we've just got a little bit of an image and a picture of Chris Ann, and you can sort of see her at the bottom there. So nice sized little booklet that you get with this, and obviously we'll look a little bit more at that information later on. We'll explore the book a little bit later. So these are the cards themselves. Beautiful artwork on the back there, as you can sort of see. They're not sort of gilded or anything, but they're still beautiful. A nice size, a good sized tarot deck. I love that. Stock quality, it is Hay House, so these are nice and thick, a decent size quality, which is something that I think is really important. You don't want your cards to be too flimsy. So if you were sort of doing readings quite regularly, these are going to last, you know, which is really important, really cool. So these are in order. So I'm going to sort of just show you these. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I want to show you enough of them. So we'll work through, there's a nice mix here of masculine and feminine energy, and they sort of talk a lot about the boho twist, which you can clearly sort of see. I just think, like I say, it's tarot for the modern times. They're spiritual without being over spiritual as well, if that makes sense, which I think is really cool. So beautiful, beautiful. Each card has its obviously title at the bottom, and yeah, this is just a really, really nice powerful deck. And it's a deck that you can look at these images, you can really resonate with them, and you can sort of think, okay, I kind of understand what this card is showing me, what this card is offering me. Because sometimes with tarot, we can look at certain cards and they can just be a bit so confusing, we almost kind of get a little bit lost in the message. But actually, I love the fact with this deck that they've kept the cards simple enough to read. Like it says, you can work with your own intuition, but still offering all the traditions, all the great stuff of the original sort of Rider-Waite tarot. So there's a lot to work with here, guys. I think they're really cool, very different, like I say, from anything I think I've shown you. They're not necessarily fantasy based, even though they touch into aspects of fantasy. Again, we talked a lot in the beginnings of this video of how it sort of said about it embraces the shadows, the light and the dark, and this card, for instance, Justice, that's a really clear example of that. I mean, if you look at this, you can see the positive there and then this sort of shadow side, but you could almost spin that upside down and read it the other way as well. So it's quite interesting. I think they're quite clever how some of these cards are actually done. The Hanged Man there as well, and again, I love the fact that they have really tried to sort of use a nice blend, a nice mix of everything. They've actually put here as well for the Death card, they've got Death and then they've also got Rebirth, which I think is nice because it's trying to steer away from that sort of fear of like how sometimes people perceive the Death cards to be. So that's really cool as well. We've got the Temperance, and in this card I feel like the Temperance is a sort of gentleman actually, so that's really kind of cool as well. Okay, the Devil, I actually really like this card. I think that's really cool. He reminds me of someone that I know. He looks, I don't know who it is, but you know when you've seen a face and you think, I know you? He looks really, really familiar. Maybe this was just my former self when I had my dreads, who knows? Because the Devil card is connected with Capricorn star sign, and obviously I'm Capricorn. So this card is actually my birth card, for you sort of Capricorns out there. So maybe that's where I recognise him from, who knows? The Tower, this is an amazing card. I love the sort of creatures, the sort of little sort of squirrel and the butterflies within this one. Beautiful. So really, really nice cards here. Just like I say, very quirky, very unusual, very different from what we've had in previous decks. Enough information for you to work with, but not being so overbearing, because that's the other thing. Some decks go so deep, you almost in a way end up losing the message, and you're a bit like, what's going on? Because it just becomes so, like, you know, overwhelming. I like the world here as well. I like the fact that like they've kept it simple with the sort of elements around the edge. That's really cool. And then we're going into Wands. So you've got like the Ace of Wands here, Two of Wands. So again, I want to show you enough, but I love the fact that it's all like modern time. That's really kind of cool. So for any sort of new readers out there, it makes it in some cases a bit more easier to kind of actually relate to, which I think is a nice aspect of this. You know, it's relatable, which is what you need sometimes, because so many people sometimes when they sort of are starting out with tarot, I get people all the time messaging me saying, oh Mitch, I'm really confused, I don't understand X, Y or Z, and they're basically overthinking it, or they're looking so deep at the information, they're not really looking at the true energy of what that picture is offering. So very often people can get overwhelmed. So this is, I think, a deck that you can work with. I think it's easy enough to really take its principles, its values, and then if you wanted to do additional study around each card, you kind of could. But I think it's definitely going to be an interesting deck. It's going to be a deck that I think I'll be working with in the future, and kind of can't wait to sort of embrace a little bit more, actually, which is really cool. I love, as well as the sort of masculine and feminine aspects, they've got different culture. I think that's really, really important, because it's celebrating like unity within the world, and a lot of decks don't always honour that. So I love the fact that this deck does really cater for kind of everything, you know, creed and all of it. Okay, we're going into the cups now. So like I said, I don't want to show you all of these, but I just want to show you enough so that you can get the idea and the merit of these. And I love the fact that the cups are a little bit like, they almost look a little bit like singing bowls. I don't know if that's what they're meant to be, but they kind of do look a little bit like singing bowls here. So that's like really powerful, as you can see, really powerful, some of these cards. Okay, I'm going to show you like maybe a couple more. I really don't want to show you all of these, because I want to keep some back as a surprise in case you decide to purchase this deck yourself. And I have to say, even though it's very different to my normal style of what I like, I'm surprised how much I like this deck, actually. Because some decks, when I get them, it's going to sound awful to say, but I feel like I have like a preconceived idea of what I think they're going to be, and I had quite a low expectation for this deck. I don't really know why. Like this one, a lot of people say they get confused with the Knights. Knight of Cups. That's quite a clear, easy to understand message there. You know, so that, like I say, these are really kind of cool. So yeah, some decks I have a preconceived idea and I don't sort of expect a great deal from them, but this one is ticking all the boxes in a good way, and I'm really, really pleasantly surprised by what's actually kind of coming back. Okay. So I'm going to show you like maybe one or two more, and then I'm going to end it there, because then I think that will be enough. And I like the fact with this one that they've used the sort of ravens or crows as the actual swords themselves. That's quite interesting. Okay, literally this last card, sorry, and then that's going to be it. Because I think that's enough to showcase to you, but still leaving a little sort of slice back, just in case you decide. Okay, so I'm going to have to give these a really good shuffle, a really good mix-up now, because these were all actually in order. I left them in order just so I could sort of show you. So I'm going to give them like an initial shuffle. I have to say, lovely matte finish. They do glide really nicely in the hand, and they are a really lovely size, so that's really cool. So I'm asking the cards to just give us a message for this Sunday, and obviously for the week ahead. Things we need to know about, general guidance to be given. So, oops, let's just see what we need to be knowing. Okay, so I do feel like they're ready to work with now. They feel like they're responding. You can always tell when cards are responding as you shuffle them, and I love that feeling when you can feel that connection. You can almost feel like an electrical current, oops, sort of running through the cards. Okay, so we've got the Three of Pentacles. Interesting, this card keeps coming out for a lot of people at the moment, in a lot of different aspects, and I also see that this card's coming up for a lot of other readers that I follow, and just different people that I have a lot of time and respect for. A lot of people seem to be sort of showcasing this card lately, so there's quite a good card to show. So let's have a look at the book, and then I'll sort of find the card itself. So as we go into the book, we've got we've got the sort of starting point, so we've got a little bit of kind of information about how the deck was born, how it kind of came to be. Again, it's got these kind of quirky aspects. It's sort of like, again, like it talks about being a bit boho and a bit matter of fact and all the rest of it. I like the fact there, for those that read the tarot reversed, it talks about the meanings upside down and reverse, and it gives you the reasons as to why you do it both ways. So that's really cool. Then there's some spread options. So there's quite a lot of information in here, loads of different types of stuff, so that's really nice. And then literally we're going sort of straight into the cards themselves then, and each card has got a piece, information, and then at the end they've all got a little like mantra or affirmation about what it's all entailing. There's quite a lot of stuff here actually, so that's really cool. So let me find the pentacles. And that's nice that each section, so like pentacles, they've got their own little section in the book. And then I've just got to find the 3. So this is our one. So this is all the stuff that I'm going to be reading to you, so that you get a decent chunk of information. And this is why I think that this is a great deck for the beginner as well as the more advanced. So if you were struggling as a beginner, there's a lot of stuff that you can work with in here. Some decks really lack in kind of content. So even though it still wants you to work with your intuition, it gives you a lot of sort of opportunity and aspect there. So I like this. It's a very, very well thought out. It's very carefully planned, beautifully presented deck actually. So we've got the light seer. So this is basically like the positive aspects. This is like the light side of the card. And it just says here, cooperation, community, teaching and learning, sharing and listening, teamwork. There is no limit to what you can manifest together. It's a nice kind of bullet pointed energy there. Now if this was to come upside down, the shadow side of stuff, so if you choose to read tarot in a more sort of negative aspect or a reverse the meaning, we've got here difficulty working with others, a need to listen, selfishness, pushing your own agenda, not trusting your partner's ability, a clash of ego. So that's nice that they're kind of communicating the two aspects there. And then on a deeper level, the message that it puts in here, working with others gifts us with the opportunity to learn from one another and to blend energies to create something totally new. Look for conscious collaborations as mentors, apprentices, or both. Co-creating together for the good of the whole is powerful magic, and this teamwork and community card calls you forth to aid your unique essence to the bigger picture. Remember that your relationships are the base of your well-being. If you are having trouble with others, seek to align goals in order to cultivate peaceful unions. Mutually beneficial relationships place equal importance on each person's novel wisdom and way of being in the world, regardless of the rational heresy. My dyslexia was getting challenged there. Everyone has something uniquely enchanting to bring to the table. When life paths are intertwined, strive to create harmony states as you weave your way in and out of one another's days. Welcome people into your heart and open doors of possibility that didn't exist in the first instance or before. And then the little mantra at the bottom just says, I step into the vibration of conscious collaboration. So I think that is pretty kind of cool. I really like that. And obviously, like with the sort of way of this, you've got a sort of like amber traffic lights in a way going on there. I don't know if they've done that purposely or not, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like this. Overall, I think that this is definitely a 10 deck. The artwork is quirky, it's unusual, it's unique. Definitely embracing the boho, the hippie stuff, but with that modern day twist as well. Love it. A really cool deck. I think we're looking at this one as a 10. It's a 10 deck, you know. There's not many that I show you that aren't 10s, to be honest. There's a couple now and again that I'm a bit disappointed with. But I don't really feel there's anything sort of negative or bad that I can really talk about with this one. Probably the most negative aspect of this deck is I know it's being fraudulently copied so much from sort of scammers and fakes out there. So that's why there's a need to be very careful where you purchase it from. But overall, a fantastic deck. Definitely one worthwhile getting in the collection for any of you tarot lovers, or for anybody that's wanting to start out and invest in tarot that doesn't want to work with the traditional Raider weights, want something a bit more quirky, a bit more modern time, this one is absolutely for you. So it's a very grown-up deck, but it still has the playfulness of what tarot can offer. So love it. I'm going to leave the energy of this with you. So this is the Light Seer Tarot by Chris Ann. Check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed. Much love and blessings. Have a fantastic, magical week ahead, and I'll catch you all soon. Much love. Bye for now.